Hi everybody, thank you for watching me again. So this evening I am going to attempt to do a root cutting. This is actually the first root cutting I have ever done, so wish me luck. So what we have here is a chocolate mint plant. So I bought this, I think it was late last spring. I bought quite a lot of herbs this year, and it was so beautiful, and I was just so, I don't know, mesmerised by its really dark green leaves, and they go kind of like a red. It was just a beautiful baby plant, and it just did so well. I put it in this, as you can see, terracotta pot, but it could have done with a bigger pot towards the end of summer, and I just never got around to it. But I would just love so much more in my garden this year, and I would quite like to have some to give away. So the frost has only just started here. Well, actually, it hasn't only just started, it's been here for a couple of weeks, and I'm trying to save some of my plants from outside. I'm trying to take some cuttings so I can have more healthy plants, because I don't know which ones are going to survive. So I figure if I get some plants going, some new plants going, then I've got some to start again with in spring, and if the old plants survive, then great. So right, so basically I'm going to have a look. I need to take a root from this, but it is quite root bound, and I'm not sure how easy this is going to be, because I really don't want to destroy this plant. I want to try and keep it alive if possible. It's so hardy. I mean, there is new growth, and I'm actually quite curious if I just planted, because normally in spring and summer you would take a cutting. If you wanted to propagate, you would take a cutting from the stem, from the top of the stem. But since it's dormant, and this is the non-growing season, this is winter season, I'm supposed to take a root cutting, which is what I'm going to do. But I do also have some cuttings here that I've cut off that I might just for an experiment, I might just try and see if they grow, because obviously I'll be growing them indoors anyway. So, and if not, they look very pretty in my little glass jar. Right, so let's see what we've got underneath here. I really don't want to be too aggressive, because, as I said, I really want to try and keep this alive, so I don't want to disturb it too much. As you can see, there is a lot of root. Now, I think I'm supposed to find quite a big, thick root. So there are some at the sides, but I don't know if those are the kind of roots that I'm supposed to take out. So let's have a look. This is all experimental, so I'm just taking you along for the ride. So let's have a look. Now, I don't know if I could get away with taking that out. Maybe I could. I think I'm supposed to get quite a long root. I really don't want to. I mean, you can cut away. It says, I think, up to like 1/3 of the plant if you need to. And mint is pretty hardy. This is peppermint, the chocolate mint. And I haven't actually used it in any dishes yet. And I love making desserts. But with my children being very young, I never get around to it these days. So, but hopefully this summer will be my year to make some nice, maybe, I don't know, peppermint brownies or something. Always appeals. Or like a chocolate mint pudding, or mousse even. Okay, so there's loads of roots here. I have a feeling some of these roots are maybe kind of disposable, the ones on the outside. I really don't know what we're going to find in here. Probably quite gross stuff, because obviously it's been outside. Didn't want to have to bring it into my house, but it's way too cold and dark to be doing this in the evening outside. So, as I'm kind of pulling away, it is becoming more and more apparent that this might be quite tricky. So, I might have to place the plant down. I've got this gardening bag here. I think I'm just going to have to go for it, and kind of, I don't want to upset the plant too much, but I really need to get these roots, and so I'm just going to have to kind of go in, see what I can get. I'm looking for thick roots. I'm not really too sure how thick a peppermint plant's roots get. It may well just have to be kind of a thin piece of root, in which case, let's have a look. I really should have repotted this, and this is why it's usually better to grow mint in containers, in case you didn't already know, because it is so aggressive and it just grows. I mean, my peppermint that I bought sorry, my spearmint that I bought just went wild, and it was bought from a shop. My peppermint I bought from my spearmint I bought from a shop. It was just a Morrison's herb in a pot, the kind that you put on your windowsill. I planted it in a huge big plastic container and it just boomed. It was amazing and everybody commented on it, and I'm going to do the same this year because it was just beautiful, and the smell, and I did make tea with it, and it was just so nice on a summer's night to make a tea with your own mint. It's really satisfying. Okay, I think I'm getting a little bit deeper. I am pulling a lot of root off. Sorry, plant. As you know, I hate killing plants. So, okay, so kind of needing to get to the sort of nitty gritty. I might end up having to put a bit more compost on the bottom of this pot and just see what it does. So, I'm pulling away a lot of root. I don't know if this is the thickest I'm actually going to get. It could actually, without kind of halving the plant completely. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's kind of tricky to tell, really. I kind of get the impression I'm just going to have to go for it. Okay, this is quite a long root. I don't really want to dig deep and find actually the roots aren't that big. And they're only really small, and I probably should have just got a thin one. So let's have a look. So we'll dig in a bit deeper, Okay, so, and apparently this doesn't stress the plant out as much by doing root cuttings when the plant is dormant. It doesn't stress it out as much as doing it in spring and summer. I guess because it's kind of a bit dozy and sleepy and it doesn't really know what's going on. I'm assuming that's the reason. I'm really, really hoping that that's the case, because I'm kind of really pulling away at it here, and I really don't want it to die. Right, okay, so let's have a look. Just pull away some of this because it might just... Okay, where does this lead? I'm so sorry. Let's have a little look. Okay, so actually, I'll be really mad if this root cutting doesn't actually work and yet I plant a cut-in from it and it works. And this was for nothing. Right, let's just see. Okay, yeah, it kind of looks like what I'm probably going to have to do. The roots underneath look they all look really thin, and I can't seem to see a thicker one, so perhaps these ones here are quite thick. I guess since I've never done this before, and it's kind of an experiment anyway, I'm just going to have to go for it. I'm just going to have to take off one of these roots and just see what it does. So I guess here goes. Okay, so I'm going to use I poured boiling water over these scissors just to sterilise. These are my indoor plant scissors really, but okay, so I'm going to just going to dig a little deeper to make sure that this is actually, oh, I'm so sorry plant, I'm so sorry. I can hear it screaming. Right, okay, so let me just see. So, so you're supposed to cut vertically so that, because when you plant this, you have to plant the bottom down, pointing down. Otherwise it won't grow otherwise. So let me just make sure pointing. Okay. Okay, so I guess that's it. So I have a piece of root. There we go. And it has the little bits coming off it, which are supposed to kind of just pull off. And there we have a little bit of peppermint root. It says that the cuttings need to be between 2 and 8 inches long. So But if it's quite a thin piece of root, if it's not like a thick, chunky piece of root, because what you're meant to do is push it down to the compost. So because that's quite thin, it can be as long as you need it to be. And you can just kind of lie it on top like that with the compost. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to see if it works. So I've got a piece on there. I'm going to take a couple of pieces. Since I've completely shredded it to bits, I might as well go all out and take a few bits of root and try my luck. So let's have a look. What about? Okay, this is a fairly long piece of root. It looks a bit scraggly on the end. I'm just going to kind of... And again, you have to remember which bit is, because the piece that you have like cut needs to be at the top. Just gonna... Although actually I'm gonna lie this down flat. I'm gonna do that method. So I guess in that sense, it doesn't really matter. So, right, let me have a look. Suppose if you're taking a huge bit of root and you're sticking it down the way, then it really matters. I'll take another little bit of root. Okay, so this is 3, so maybe I'll take 4 for luck, and then or is it 3 for luck? I can't remember. Okay, I'm going to take another piece. Although I think you're supposed to take it like kind of trying to get sort of fresh root. I mean they look quite fresh. I think they're... So this one's pretty. That's pretty close to the top. So let's have a look. Again, I've never done this before, so I'm completely learning as I go. It's not as scary once you're doing it, and it'll be great if it works. So what I might actually do, because it's quite a fresh looking root, is just cut this in half. Okay, so is that 2 inches? Yeah, I guess that's 2 inches. And there we go as well. They're probably about the same size. I'm probably just gonna... I might just you know what, I'm going to do all of them. Why not? I'm just going to do every single piece. This bit looks like a good bit of root, I have to say. Let me have a look. Although it's further down, so it's probably an older piece. All right, I think we're good with those pieces. I think let's just stick with those. Right, now in order to put this back, I think I'm going to have to... Oh, I'm so sorry, I've made such a mess of you. Right, I'm going to put some compost in. Let me just rinse my hands off first, so I don't completely contaminate the bag of compost with old outside compost. So once this is planted, this is supposed to start growing leaves within around a month. If you haven't got leaves after sort of 2 months, it hasn't worked. So, okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put... So I've got a John Innes #1. So it's for young plants, root cuttings, propagation, root development. So this is perfect. And it's you do need like ideally a loam base, so that's why I've got this. So this should be fine for what we're doing. A mix of loam and peat and grit with a bit of fertiliser in there. So I'm just going to fill this right up. Just going to fill this right up. There we go. And I'm really looking forward to having a garden full of mint this year, because it really is just such a beautiful plant, and it just grows. It just grows and grows, and it's pretty hardy, and it's just a great thing to have, and you don't have to worry about it too much, because as I say, it's not fussy. It does like a lot of water, so if you have a lot of dry weather, you really need to keep on top of the watering, but it tells you, because you'll see it's completely collapsed, and then as soon as you water it again, it will just spring back up within a short space of time. Okay, so I'm just gonna So what I'm going to do here is I'm literally, so I've filled this up, and then I'm literally just going to lay these roots, because they're so thin, I'm not going to stick them in the compost. That's more for thicker roots. So I'm just going to lay it on top, just like so. There we go. And I'm going to sprinkle some compost on top. It doesn't need to be deep. It just needs to be. I think it's around like 1 centimetre. Just gently kind of. All right. Probably should have put 2 in there actually. Hold on, let me just, oh my goodness, I've lost my root. Right, I'm gonna put 2 in here. So he has a little friend, so he's not alone. Let's have a look. Okay, little guy, let's put you in here. There we go. So he's there, and we're gonna put his friend, let's have a look. We're gonna put you over here. Okay, so I'm just gonna, that's it. Just gonna put the compost. I'm really quite excited to see what happens. I'm trying to pretend I'm not going to be disappointed if this doesn't work, but I probably will be. So, but this is how you find out what works and what doesn't. So I am all for experimenting when it comes to gardening, because sometimes I've read advice and I followed it and I still haven't got results. Other times I've kind of just done what I wanted and got great results. So I think gardening is a little bit like that, and that's kind of the fun of it as well. So there we go. That should be enough. I'm just going to get another pot, and I can do the other roots. Let me see what I've got in here. And I've lost my other pots. I've lost them all. Okay, I've got a few more pots here, so I'm just going to fill these ones up. Okay. Okay.
There's plastic in there.
It's alright, it's part of. Okay. Okay, and I'm just going to lay these. Geez, I think I like this one, so I'm going to try. I think this one might be a good one. So I think he's lucky. He's a good shape. I'm going to try him, and I'm going to try this one. Now, the whole idea is that you get as many little kind of flailing. These ones aren't too bad. I think it's probably more with the thicker stalks, but the idea is that you get as many of the little straggly bits of roots off the sort of main root that you can, because they just sap energy from the piece of root. And so if you can get them off, that's what you need to do. So there we go. Sprinkle a bit more compost up the top. And then what you want to do, obviously, is water them after. So you want to make sure, you want to try and get it so that the first inch of soil is wet. And then keep it like that. Check it every couple of days and make sure that it's moist, that it's nice and wet. And that's what you need to do. So you don't actually water the whole pot. So I'm just going to take my gloves off for the sake of wetting them. I'm just going to leave this cutting. So we've got 4. So I should hopefully see some results. 4 root cuttings. All right, so I'm going to use my little spray bottle so you don't displace the roots, so you don't want to do anything too heavy-handed. So I'm just going to use this as the one I use just to spray my orchids. So I'm just going to use this one. So we just want a light shower of spray, and when you think that the first inch of soil is adequately wet, I'm just going to give that a real good spray. Real good spray, and the same with this one. Real good spray. There we go. And if you're not sure if it's kind of, just take your finger, stick it in there. If it still feels a little bit dry, yeah, it's a little bit dry, so I need to go a bit, just be, as I said, be really careful not to displace the roots that you've just planted. It's nice and wet. And there we go. And I'm really looking forward to seeing some results. So you want to stick it on make sure it's in a nice light place. Doesn't have to be direct sunlight, just maybe put it in somewhere that's quite nice and bright. And then see what happens. All right, that ought to do it. There we go, and I shall keep you updated and let you know when I've got some leaves. I'm very excited and very hopeful that I will. Okay, thank you all for watching. Goodbye.